Writers, agents, and publishers, for the first time since the Gutenberg Press, find themselves lost in a maze of mystery as technology alters the shape of the publishing industry. Searching for Answers is a group of writers throwing pop culture, writing, and publishing into a crucible of clarity, passion, and humor. This group is the Right Pack. Welcome back to Right Pack Radio. This is your host, producer, David Allen Lucas, author of Crazy Things, president of Winding Trails Media, president of St. Louis Writers Guild, and voice actor. And with me today is my Madame of Murder herself,
Fedora Amos. I write Victorian whodunits like Jack the Ripper in St. Louis and Mayhem at Buffalo Bill's Wild West. I'm president of Greater St. Louis Sisters in Crime, and I am going to be at the Edinburgh Book Festival in Edinburgh, Scotland on the 20th of August, and the day before that too. So if you happen to be there, please look me up.
I'm going to say this officially. I can't do that after last recording. I am saying officially. I am effing jealous here. I love it. I want to see pictures.
Eat your heart out, baby.
Oh, trust me. I'll eat my haggis out. Okay.
I am George Soroy. I'm an author, voice actor, audiobook narrator, and president of the Missouri Writers Guild. My books Excelsior and Ever Upward Part 2 in the Excelsior Journey will be available very soon from Aloris Publishing, as will my 5-part serial From Parts Unknown that will be available through me. And you can also check out Amazon for 2 audiobooks that I've narrated. The children's book Rumpelpimple by Suzanne DeWitt Hall and Argentum, Pause Volume 2 by Debbie Mamber-Kupfer. More information at he'sgotit.com.
As in George, he's got it. Okay.
Bye, George.
Bye, George.
By George, he's got it. Yes.
George, I think he's
I screwed it up. Oh well. And with me today also is...
My name is Jennifer Solzer. I'm a children's book author and illustrator. My fantasy novel, Threadcaster, is available on Amazon and Main Street Books in St. Charles.
Yay.
Speaking of Main Street Books in St. Charles, keep an eye out at Jessica Matthews' webpage. I think it's jessicamatthewsbooks.com. She will be promoting a Main Street Books event next month with the launch of her children's book, The Old Man and the Pirate Princess, and they're having a pirate party for kids to come dressed as pirates and go on a treasure hunt and also sell books. So
is it okay to say the date?
I can't yet because I don't know for certain because we're recording this in the past.
I was told the date. I was just wondering.
Oh, well, yeah, sure. Let's say the date.
Jessica told me the date was September 9th.
Okay.
And I happen to remember that because September 9th is another date for me.
And I believe that's at 11:30 a.m. if I'm not mistaken.
My goodness, y'all know about my promotion more than that. September 9th.
That's how you get the word out.
I was not told what the exact date was, but it's September 9th at 11:30 at Main Street Books in St. Charles. Bring your little children and get a picture book, and I think she's giving out pirate tattoos and cute stuff like that. So it'll be a good time.
Nice.
And I'm the illustrator on that one, which is why I care.
Yes.
That sounded really callous, but it's not, I care because I love her, but it's...
Yeah, we'll be celebrating that day, that's for sure, but not necessarily for pirates. It's somebody's birthday.
Aww.
Oh.
So it's your pirate birthday.
And also with us, if you haven't caught on, is...
Hi, I'm Melanie Lucas. I am currently working on a fantasy novel, and who knows, by September 9th I might be further along. And no, I don't think I'll be done with the draft or anything, but further along.
And today we're going to have a... Please, go ahead and say it.
A kvetchisode.
A kvetchisode.
Better than that, a convention-thon.
Oh. That's going to sound like we're raising money.
For those
here for 9 hours, call in with your kvetch.
For those who don't know what that is, we're basically, and hey, we are rated PG, so I can get away with this. We're going to have a bitch session. And this is a bitch session in which every writer out there, whether you are brand new to the field or have been doing this for most of your life, whether you are doing this professionally or you are trying to break in and you have a full-time job, this is something in which all of you know and love or hate and can relate to. And that is, oh, you're a writer? But in comments from non-writers. What this is example, I'm going to give you a good example myself. I loved my father. I really did. He stood by me through a lot. He passed away in '06. He stood through a lot with me. There's one thing that always annoyed me. He would announce to various friends and people we all knew, and go, "Yeah, my son thinks he's a writer."
Yeesh.
So that's just going to be one part of it. Also, too, we're going to talk about ways in which writers are taken advantage of because we are not seen as being professionals. So with that, let me go and open up the floor because I could go on the entire hour by myself.
This one really kind of goes out to all of the indie authors that are out there because you guys, like myself included, I've been there, quite a bit myself. We have all dealt with the wonderful, wonderful self-publishing stigma.
Yes.
And that basically means that if you have chosen the route of self-publishing, that means that you are not good enough to become published, and therefore have to buy your way in.
Let me rephrase that in one succinct sentence. Are you self-published or real published?
There you go.
Which is something I've received before.
Yep.
Like, did you do it yourself or did you do it for real? It's like, well, it's a real book and it really came out and it's really for sale, so I think my was real published as far as I'm concerned.
Now, thankfully, these days, that stigma is not quite as potent. But since we are talking about non-writers, non-writer reactions, it's still there to them. They basically believe that like if a big five did not pick you up, then you are not worth taking a look at, which definitely stings. At the same time, though, like you want to just kind of write them off as like, oh, you're not my real audience anyway. You don't even read, but
do you even lift?
Right, exactly. But it still stings, and it will always sting. It's just one of those things that you just kind of have to go through in order to reach that dream.
Well, the real publishing versus indie publishing thing is indie versus traditional, and it's just a method. And one of my favorite phrases in all life, which everyone should all adopt, is there are 100 reasons why New York didn't take your book, and 99 of them have nothing to do with you.
Nope.
So there are 100 reasons why so many things happen in our lives, and 99 of those reasons have nothing to do with us. So just because they didn't pick up your book doesn't mean your book was bad, or that you were bad, or you wrote a bad query. It could be those things, but there are 99 other reasons it could also be.
And let's just face it, I'm going to turn this over to Fedora next. I was going to say this very shortly. Let's just face it. We all know this from the industry. I'm just giving this to fellow writers as balm for the issues when this comes up. Not that long ago, there were 7 big. Now there's 5.
Mm-hmm.
Some merged, some
and
went
they're
out
from
of business.
Germany.
Yeah.
3 of them.
Yeah.
I
And
didn't know that.
just know that there's only so much money that's out there that these people are willing to pay for what they're getting. And they are bombarded. Not only that, small presses, which thank God they exist, but really, small presses, a lot of times, they're not always, but small presses are mom and pop shops. And there's only so much money they have. So, yeah, this is, just remember, you are part of the industry. These people who are not, and who are saying stuff like this, may not even know or care, even if they are related to you, about the industry.
I want to tell you all about my pet peeve. And this is from people who would not ever think of asking you how much money you make.
Oh!
However, they are perfectly happy to say, how is your book doing? How are your book sales? Are you selling a lot of books? On and on and on until my teeth just want to fall out. I tell you, it is so rude, and they don't even see it. That's the worst part of it, that they would never ask you how much money you are making, in your job as an insurance salesman, for goodness. But they feel perfectly fine because writing is somehow different. It's a hobby, right?
You just also added a little element that gets to me, is when you say, like, I'm a writer, the response to that is, yeah, what do you really do?
Yeah, and what's your day job?
That's a hobby.
Yeah.
What is it that you really do?
Well, here's my answer to that. I'm free. What's your problem? Oh, you got a 9-to-5 job. Bye-bye.
Well, here's the thing. I do have an
I know you do.
I have an
I know
8 to
you
5
do.
job, and so I do have a set answer
Yeah.
to that question. But at the same time, yes, I've gotten the same question that Fedora's gotten. How many copies have you sold? Like I have that that number all set to go in the back of my head, based
Let me
on
just log into CreateSpace real fast.
exactly. Let me see what my Amazon rankings are. Hold on 1 second.
Do you want that on Amazon, iBook, or do you? Yeah. What are you looking at?
Yeah.
Yeah, and sadly with our industry, us as writers and authors, we are taken advantage of, just like every other artist out there. I look over at Jen across the way because she's got 2 arts. Actually, a lot of us do in this room. She's got visual art as well as written art. George, you and I have vocal art as well as our written art.
And Fedora knows how to kill people.
Oh yeah, well, that's where she and I get
So
along.
that's the wrong. So she's really the wrong person you want to ask those questions
You
to.
had rep for the defense lawyer.
Yes, but along
You
with
can actually say that like what else do you do? Just like I speak about poisons
Yeah.
and just watch them back away slowly.
I speak about how to kill people in 14,000 different ways. But one to say is we are also vulnerable to a lot of predatory behaviors. First off, a clear and honest one: vanity presses.
Yeah.
Okay, if you're a writer and you haven't run into a vanity press, warning: they prey upon your hope. You're going to pay a lot of money. And they're not going to give you that much, in all honesty. But let's talk about the outside of that. Let's talk about let's say you are one of the lucky ones, or you're one of the ones who are doing it because you have lost your job. You're writing full time, and you're struggling. You're trying to make it through, and you're involved in the community. You might have kids in school. I don't, but I'm going to quote somebody. Actually, no, I'm not sure which of the authors it was. It could have been Stephen King, Brian Daley, or somebody else. But anyway, or you're involved somehow. Oh, you're working from home. Oh, you're a writer. You can do that anywhere. Can you help us out for the next 40 hours this week at the school and help us maybe get the kids all together or help build this mailbox thingy or whatever? Remember, your time is precious. Your time is as much, if not more precious, than the 9-to-5er who's out there.
I definitely feel that. I feel that in both of my careers because I work from home for both writing and drawing.
Right.
From home with big air quotes on it because I often leave home for this very reason. I'm relied on for a lot of things that are not my job. And can you pick this thing up? I know because you're home all day. Can you make sure to? It's like, why didn't you clean the house while you were home all day? We'll get Jen to do it because we know that Jen has free time. It's like, well, I don't really have free time. So as a result, I end up spending a lot of time in coffee shops. Because if I'm not home, then I'm working, apparently. But if I'm home, then I can, do the dishes or whatever. And I'm, I'll be happy to help out with the house, but I have to get my work done.
Yep.
I got clients.
Well, I love to borrow off of what Fedora said earlier and George said. How many books did you sell? How much money did you make? Here's my counter question to those who asked that. How many hours did you work last week? Oh, you worked 40, 45, 50? I worked 70 hours a week to get stuff done. Now let's talk about who's really working. One of the other things that happens, I know, with both visual art, vocal art, and literary art, is, can I get a free sample of that? Or can you do this for me for free?
Exposure?
For exposure or for credit? Come on. Let me be honest with you. Let me be honest with everybody. There are 2 types of humans in this world. Homo sapiens and Homo invictus. Homo invictus, the unconquerable human, are the ones who create, who build. They can be architects, they can be writers, they can be painters, etc. We create. We've given something to the world that will not go away easily. Everybody else, they might have good businessman on their tombstone. That's it.
Well, it's not doing us versus them kind of thing.
And really not.
Like,
but
people
what I'm
who
saying
don't
is,
understand can be taught.
if they're willing to be taught. If you're willing to be taught, they can be taught.
We all strive for immortality. We all strive
Exactly.
to have something that we're going to leave behind when we move on and from this world.
Mhm.
And that is definitely a priceless element. The fact that we can do that, and the fact that we are taking the steps to make that happen, that's something you really, really have to hold on to. That more than anything is your main currency in this world. That's something that you really have to hold on to. I was thinking about bringing that up later on, like during the time that we were wrapping up, but at the same time, I feel like it's if we're going to be kvetching a lot, this episode, so I got to give some points of light to kind of shine through the darkness. There really is, a real value in the things that we do, and that's something you have to hold on to if you're going to make it in this field.
I mean, let's face it, you have to have a tough skin to make it through this field anyway.
Yeah.
The other day we were at St. Louis Writers Guild workshop. A presenter, I'm not going to mention names, gave a talk and was talking about Amazon reviews. And people would leave 1-star reviews on Amazon. And here's what they would say on these reviews. Love the book. Gave it a 1-star because the next book's not out yet.
Yeah, that doesn't really help.
Yeah, that doesn't do much.
It's
But
actually negatively impacting whether or not you're going to get another book.
yeah.
Yes.
So ultimately, I guess one of the things that to say here is, as a writer or as any type of artist, don't devalue your work. It's actually something which a lot of writers do. We say we're a writer, almost like it's a. To borrow, actually, I'm just completely remembered something else. I think it was the 2010 St. Louis Writers Guild Gala, if I'm remembering right, Jen. I don't know if this news reporter is still alive or not. The reason I say that was he was diagnosed with cancer, and he just received a big award last spring, and they were concerned about getting it to him in time.
Yikes.
It's funny, his son accepted on his behalf, not because
No, wrong person. He was there.
Okay, he was there.
Yes, he was there. And anyway, where I was going with that is, he talked about how he was a little W writer, not the big W writer. To all of us who were a lot less published. But this guy had a column that at one time was 4 days, 5 days a week in a newspaper, multiple newspapers. He eventually backed down as time went on and became 2 or 3 times a week. But where I'm going with that is, we have this perception, a lot of writers have this perception that I'm a writer, small w. That you don't have value. And when we're selling our works, we have to look for a price point. That's a tough job. But we're more than writers. We're also entrepreneurs. I don't care if you're traditionally published or indie published or somewhere in between with the hybrids. Every single one listening to this broadcast, every single one of us sitting around this room are small business owners. And we, like CEOs of the biggest companies in the world, are making business decisions that affect down the line. Okay, I don't have $1 billion decision I'm making, but my $1,000 decision or my $100 decision to invest in something, or to hire Jen as my illustrator for my cover, which, by the way, I have done, or to create my logo, that's a business decision. And it's just as powerful, just as important.
One of my favorite things I heard a while back was an entrepreneur is someone who will work 80 hours a week to avoid working 40.
Yes, this is very true.
For somebody else.
Right.
I think that is a very important part of it,
Yeah,
the
you're right.
independence. And we have that.
We do. If you're not working full time,
Right.
as well, on top of working full time, you got 2 jobs, like George there.
Mm-hmm.
I would add there's a flip side to a lot of this too.
Yeah, there is.
That is, we have fans, and it's always a surprising delight to have somebody come up to you and say, read your book and I loved it. And maybe ask an intelligent question about it. You know, that is an ego trip just beyond anything else, I do believe. So we can have fans. We can have people seek us out when we're at a convention to talk to us and to ask our opinion on something which may not have anything to do with writing. It might be completely something else. But that gives us important ego strokes, I think, that there are people out there who are reading our books and who are enjoying them. And only a few are going to come and tell us that. But there are a lot of others out there, too, that don't come and tell us that, but still believe it. And that gives a person a wonderful sense of satisfaction.
I always feel humble when I get something like that. It's like, wow, thank you. I feel, okay, I am one of those writers who, yes, I will claim big W, but I really feel at times a little W, a small W. And it's just like, I'm only a small writer here. I'm only a small W. Well, why this praise, but thank you. I don't feel worthy of the praise often enough. So,
but you are, David. Trust me, you are.
Okay, but that's a me thing. But yes, independence. Now, I keep throwing George on the bus. I'm not throwing him under a bus.
Right over here.
George,
I'm here.
Yeah.
Let George do it, whatever it is.
Yeah, George, you got 3 full-time jobs. I've been there, done that as well. I don't have that one full-time job anymore. But you work a 9-to-5 job.
8 to 5.
Yeah.
Yeah, but
There's no such thing as really a 9-to-5. I'm just using the term.
I know.
And you probably work overtime with that. You do writers.
On occasion, yeah.
Okay, well, you're lucky. You do your writing, and you do your voice acting. That is a hell of a lot.
Yeah.
And on top of that, you've got to be a good husband, and as well as all your other relationships out there.
And he's president of...
And he's president of the
Missouri Writers Guild. So that was another hat that got put on me. Yeah.
A lot of time there, too.
And through this, I really have to give an eternal amount of credit to my wife, Cheryl, for her patience on all of this. Because she really is just an absolute saint, and I wouldn't have gotten even half of this done if she wasn't beside me. So that gets she gets all the credit in the world for that.
I hear you there, because I'm sitting next to the one who I call Saint,
Yep.
who has put up with me for the last 7 months as I'm trying to get my writing career back on this track, and which should have been back on its track in February, but we won't go down there with health and other issues.
Shoulds are bad.
Yeah.
Huh?
Shoulds are bad.
Shoulds are bad.
There's no should.
I think he's on the right track.
I am.
There you go.
But yeah, I don't work for them anymore. I'm not going to say the name of the company. Actually, that company got absorbed by another company.
So it's no longer a thing anymore.
It's no longer a thing anyway. But when I was working for this one company, okay, all you writers out there in the world can picture this.
Sicily.
Nice. Yeah. And actually,
Thank you, Sophia.
and I was describing this to somebody before off mic. Imagine, if you would, you're at a writer's conference. Imagine, if you would, you're at a two-sized ballroom, a full-size ballroom. And in front of you are 28 agents and publishers of the like of Down O'Maus, of the like Random House and Penguin. This was right before they merged. In fact, they're the ones that gave me the joke called Random Penguin that I like to throw out there. Imagine ACX was there, Amazon, all these people. And you're trying to listen to them, and you're getting calls from work. By the way, you're on vacation. You're getting calls from work that they are expecting you to be working while you're on vacation, while you're doing this. Now, that happens a lot. My dad had that type of job as well. There were times in which he had that. But now imagine that your first holiday of the year is Martin Luther King Day. Your next holiday of the year is Thanksgiving. Imagine, if you would, for months on end, you would work 7 days a week, and say before, months on end. 7 days a week, wake up at 7 in the morning, work, go to sleep at 2 in the morning, you just got finished working, and repeat. Oof. That was my job. There was a lot that was placed on me that should, when the company got bought out and this job got transferred, or the elements of that job got transferred to where I should have belonged, suddenly 3 to 4 people were doing that job. Gee, can't imagine why. And they were bitching and complaining. Gee, once again, can't imagine why. And I was sitting back with a slight grin on my face going, yeah, you didn't hear me when I was asking for help. So I don't miss that. I am glad to be independent. And I really am working hard not to ever have to do a 9 to 5. Not saying that's not possible. I might have to. I might have to go back to a 9 to 5 job.
Now, also keep in mind that David's not slamming
No, I'm not.
the full-time job element too, because I mean, like, we all have to do what we all have to do.
Exactly. There's such a thing called bills.
Yes, there are bills. Like if you want to be independent and move out of the parents' house and everything, you have to pay the price for that.
Yes.
Like that's if you have a mortgage, you got to pay it. You have to. There are responsibilities that that lend themselves to what it is that need to be done, and there is no shame in that, and there is don't ever let that get you down. At the same time, do not let it keep you from writing. This is where you have to go ahead and make out your schedule and cut out a lot of social elements that you think are would be taking up your time.
Yeah.
If you had scheduled 3 hours of TV watching after work, you just can't do that. You can't you can't let those precious hours go by and not be in front of the computer and everything and call yourself a writer.
Yeah. In fact, I even broke up. There was a woman I dated. I'm not going to say names. A woman I dated long before I got married, obviously.
He got
Putting
the
it out
look,
there,
by the
I
way.
don't do that.
I saw the
But-
look. So.
Yeah. She
Anyway.
gave you the side eye. on
Yeah.
it.
But constantly, this person was like, "You need to watch this television program. You need." I'm like, "That sounds great. I'll catch it when I can. I've got to write." No, you really need to do this. You need to watch. And it's like, I don't have the time.
Mhm.
And what you're talking about, you really do you do need to take care of yourself. You need to take care of a writer in you. That's been my biggest problem for the last 7 months, is recovering. Okay, I talked about the writing, about the work situation. I'm not slamming those people. I'm just telling you, this is how it was. I also was taking care of an elderly parent on top of that.
Mhm.
The writing time got sucked up so fast, it wasn't funny. And I'm paying for that lack of care that I had for my proverbial muse as I struggle now to get it restarted. I talked to George earlier off mic. I was introducing him to something, and actually, if you listen to our last talk about the speaking circuit, I was talking about Udemy. I was showing him some of the courses I was taking. I was like, I went back to square one as a writer because I need to reignite this thing back inside of me. So yes, you have got to take care of it, and there are going to be times when your best friends call you and say, "Hey, let's go out to the bar," or whatever they like to do. And you got to say, no, I've got to be at home. I have a job to do here. And you've got to protect that. It's your time and your job.
I think Dave has a really good point. I believe that people seem to have two views of writers. That either what we do is terribly, terribly trivial, or they're in awe of it.
Mm-hmm.
And we just
Agreed.
can't find a middle ground at all in which writers are simply respected as they would other professions.
Mm-hmm.
And the time that we devote to writing is serious time, that's important time, but it's not God-inspired time necessarily either. That what we need is to be treated like regular human beings, if you will, instead of this odd artist person who writes.
And also one fun thing to keep in mind is that like when you are a writer, you are basically like your name is the one name that's on that finished project, whatever it may be. Therefore, you are to the outside world one person. And it's very easy to kick the teeth into one person. If you have, at the same time, you have indie filmmakers who are basically kind of like in the same sort of boat that we are.
Yes.
Like the only difference is that they have a cast and crew around them They have investors that have put money into that project, and they have something that they can actually show to the general public that does not require the general public to actually put in some investment time on their own.
Right.
So that's definitely not a knock on indie filmmakers at all. But the simple fact is that when you have that, you have a whole bunch of people around you that are your protection. People don't come up to to indie filmmakers and verbally beat them up and everything, just saying oh, what's your real job? And it's kind of like the same thing that I've seen in the world of West Coast swing. I have danced competitively, several times, placed a couple times, in the newcomer area. So but at the same time, I know I'm no real authority when it comes to the whole West Coast swing world, but I know a whole lot of people that are, and they they're working their day jobs just like anyone else.
Yes.
They are doing whatever they can. They're they're hairdressers or they're Uber drivers or whatever. They have their own little niche in the gig economy that we're in right now. Or they're doing regular office jobs. But when they get out on the dance floor, they're up on YouTube, and they are practically gods, the way that they perform. And that's kind of along the lines of what we do. What we do when we have a finished book in our hands is a result of days, weeks, months, years of constant working on this thing to get it better and better, get our craft better and better. All of that is right in this one little thing that that varies in length, and it's very easy to just kind of walk right past it. But if you actually take the time and look at it, you will see that we have created something really special.
Okay, go for it.
I just think that arts in general are oddities in the world. Last night, I went to Webster to see a documentary on the blues. And it was about these wonderful older black guys from a couple of little towns in Mississippi. And what they did, because they love what they do. One fellow told a story about being on the Chitlin Circuit. And what the Chitlin Circuit basically is that you go to a club and play for food. That's all you get. Except it wasn't chitlins, it was hamburgers. And the first time that they went, they got one hamburger apiece. But they brought in some audience, so the next time they got 2 hamburgers apiece, and they were able to sell some and get gas money to go home. And that is an endearing story to me about what it's like at the bottom, the basic end of the arts, whether it's music or writing or whatever. But you keep on working, you keep on playing, and eventually you get enough hamburgers to support yourself.
That's the goal.
I have another kvetch.
Okay. Before you do that, let me throw this out. Just suggestion also, check out Bob Baker's books and his video series about being an empowered artist. Doesn't matter, writer, artist, you name it, it will help. Go for it.
This is more of a circumstantial thing, and it's 100% no one's fault. But the fact that Threadcaster took me 12 years to write, and when I published it, I had someone finish it in 5 hours. And that, and on one hand, that's great. They couldn't put it down, obviously, because they finished it in 5 hours. But that's just something that I just shake my head at every time. I've had someone finish it in a day. I had one person finish it in a plane flight. That is 582 words long, or pages long, on that book. It is 120,000 words, and you finished it in one plane flight. Now, they were going coast to coast.
But still.
So, but still, I still think it's a good thing, but it still sort of marvels me that we worked so hard and so long to create these things, and they're so quick to consume. And not that I'm telling anyone in the audience to stop reading my book,
Yeah.
so that it
You read
takes
Jen's
them
book.
long.
Yeah.
You read Jen's book.
You have to finish it in 12 years. This is a rule. Pace yourselves.
Okay, good. Because I've actually misplaced my copy of your book.
Oh
I'll find
no! I
it.
got a box in my trunk.
Anyway,
I'll borrow his copy.
somebody will say this. Somebody will tell me who said it, because my mind just went blank. But someone said that easy, something along the lines of stories that are easy to read were the hardest work. It was trying to get us moved out. I just paraphrased it, but that is generally what it is. Okay, so we've bitched about a lot of the things in which we're told by non-writers. These are people who don't know the industry. These could be your brother, sister, mother, father, etc. What the heck keeps you going as a writer? I'm going to say one thing real fast. Creating mastermind groups like the Right Pack has helped me. So has been St. Louis Writers Guild. The St. Louis Writers Guild, since I'm president, at times is like, oh my God, I'm doing 40 hours a week just doing that. It happens. I'm not bitching and complaining, but it's a realization of the time it gets sucked, and that doesn't get paid. So, but nevertheless, that there's a huge support group that's called St. Louis Writers Guild that I can talk to anybody there to help me through things.
There's another support group too.
Yes, there is. Go for it. There's a couple support groups here.
Missouri Writers Guild.
And
And of course, Sisters in Crime.
Right.
And I would add that because we need a community, there's a price to pay for that. And if
Yes,
it
there
means
is.
spending time being president of Sisters in Crime, it's a price I'm happy to pay.
exactly.
And I know that I could probably spend that time perhaps more wealthily by writing, but it would not feed my inner need for some companionship in what can be a pretty lonely life.
And let's be honest, I don't know, I can't say musical artists that this is the case, unless you're a songwriter, but writers, visual artists, and songwriters, a lot of what we do is done solitarily. We are by ourselves somewhere, and we need human connection.
Yes, writing is by definition like a lonely art.
Mhm.
You know, like it really is. Because if you're a writer, that means you are sitting down, you are writing something, you are not a part of the outside world when you are doing that. I definitely second what Fedora was saying. Like, I love the fact that I'm president of the Missouri Writers Guild. I'm very proud of that. And the main reason why I am happy to be president, and the fact that I'm proud to be a part of this, this wonderful group of creators. I don't even want to call them like writers as much as I want to call them creators, because like that's really at the very essence that's what we are. But the great thing about being a president is that you can kind of see like what is it that you want to add to the particular organization that you're a part of.
Yeah.
And my take on it is the same as Fedora's. I love the fact that there is a community of writers that I am a part of that is, in the sense, looking to me for direction. And the main direction that I want is to enhance the communication between the Missouri Writers Guild and all of its neighboring chapters, and to incorporate that element of a community into this guild.
Anybody else? Okay.
What was the topic?
Hopefully podcasts like this help too.
Yeah.
And by the way, FYI, I did have a survey out there for all of our fans in case you missed it. It's on SurveyMonkey. We want to know what you found as the most useful podcast that we've done over the last 4 years. So with that said, what are some of the other ways you get past the non-writing comments that come out there? I did have one as I was thinking about that I'm going to start using. Instead of saying just that I'm a writer, I control people's minds.
I have another
Go for it.
topic, Quebec incident, not so
Go for
helpful, I guess, but something that I ran into a lot when I was starting out as a freelancer, either both in writing and in art. I had certain relatives, certain people you run into, people not in the friend group community that know what it's like to be creative,
Right.
who just don't understand the industry. It's not just writing, it's the industry. So when I say I've been writing query letters and I've been sending out all these petitions and sending out postcards, and they say, well, just isn't there someone you can just call? Can't you just go up and get the job?
Yeah.
Because, that's what they did when they became a lawyer or whatever. It's like, I approached this guy, and is there, like, a dude that you can, a mentor or whatever you can know who can just get you into the firm? It's like, that's not really how that works.
Yeah.
But to say that I'm doing, like, even my own therapist who didn't know anything about publishing, and I'm sitting here crying in her office about how hopeless it felt to try and get this book published traditionally. Notice that I've published it independently. The therapy worked. But, I'm sitting here crying about it, and she's like, why is it so hard? Why can't you just walk, it's like, can you go to New York and, like, knock on a door and just get it? Like, no, you can't. You don't understand that you have to do all of these hoops, and even then there's an element about you do all the hoops, but then there's a luck portion.
Mm-hmm.
In art, like if you're trying to become an illustrator for a big book company, you send postcards to the art directors of all these various publications. And the postcard is all you get. It's got a link to your resume website on the back of it, but it's your artwork that lands on their desk. And they pick up a big stack of postcards because everyone sends in postcards, and they page through them, swoop, 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 and the ones that they think are okay, they set aside, and the ones that don't, go in the garbage. Because that's all you get. You get 3 seconds of them going through, and if they like, it's like, and we'll start a folder for her. I guess she's alright. There might be something that comes up. Well, don't forget about you because I'll get another stack tomorrow.
Yep.
But if I just so happen to send a postcard with an elephant on it, and he just so happened to get a manuscript about elephants, I've got a job. Was I any better than any of the other people in that stack? No. I just luckily happened to send them a postcard with an elephant on it. And that is so horribly frustrating, and it's something that people who go about a more traditional job would never, just do not understand.
It's a creative industry that people don't, that you just said, traditional, people who are in a traditional field that don't do anything creative in the sense of like what we're talking about.
Well, it's subjective. It's the subjectivity element that doesn't necessarily enter when you're applying for a Burger King job.
True. Or a desk job somewhere, anywhere. But the industry itself, all of the creative industries are weird ducks. I mean, I worked in insurance, I worked in dealing with Medicare, and the state and all that. I know the federal system, I know the state system, I know the way that the culture worked, and I know the creative side. And really there is completely earth and moon as far as separate bodies.
Something else that a lot of people don't get, and this is a lot of artists, but not all, but a lot, all but you can be very successful and still not make a lot of money.
True.
So there was a successful author that was on the best-selling children's book list, and I forget what the author's name was. I was just listening to an interview by him. He was saying his book was on Amazon's top 10 or whatever his category was. It was a really big category, something with kids' books. It's like, oh yeah, are you going to buy a new car with your royalty check? It's like, yeah, no, I'm going to take the wife out to dinner.
Yeah.
It's like, yeah, that big best-selling book, sum total for that one book was less than $20,000, and that was the major success book.
Yep.
Because you only get cents per title sold, per sticker sold.
Yeah.
It comes from the fact that Western society, our American society, is a very funnel system for most of our bringing up. Where you go to elementary school, and you go to middle school, and you go to high school, and you go to college, and then it's understood that out of college you get job.
Right.
And then job equals house, wife, dog, children, their school. There's a path you follow.
Right.
To turn around and add the how do you keep going in the face of all this, our path, our tunnel path isn't quite as straight-liney as all that. There's a lot of, taking risks and them not paying off, a lot of rejection, a lot of trying to find new things, but we have that freedom to try new things. When I was crying in my therapist's office because what I was doing wasn't working, she said, do something else. And it's like, I don't want to do anything else. I want to publish this book. She's like, no, do something else at that. Look at your other options, because there's more options than just fishing in the same pond over and over again and hoping you catch a different kind of fish. It's like, if you want to get it out, what do you want from your career? I wanted something I could sell at events like Gateway Con, and I wanted to be able to have other people read my work. It's like, did I want a New York Times bestseller thing? It's like, well, I'm supposed to aim for that. I tried to aim for that, and it didn't work out this time, but was that what I really wanted? Like, well, what I really wanted was to have a thing in my hand that was mine, that I could hand to someone else and say $15. So, and that's what I got, and I'm very happy with my decision. And we all have the ability to think outside the box because we are creatives, and we should think outside the box. David, you're a great example. You're looking for a way to be successful. You invented this podcast. Were we talking about doing a podcast before you said you wanted to do a podcast? I don't think anyone was thinking about that.
No.
But you just said, let's give that a try, and now you own an entire company based around audio production. So...
Scary thought, but yes. Hey, by the way, I didn't go to school for that.
Yeah.
So,
And we've been doing this for 4 years.
yeah.
So it's pretty influential to those of us sitting here, and I hope people who are listening.
We have listeners all over the world, and that all came from sort of a thinking outside the box moment.
And really, I mean, the ultimate thing with that is surprising how many people we actually reach with our podcasts. We get a lot more on Blog Talk, TuneIn, iTunes, and so forth than we do on YouTube. Okay, sarah. But I know from the Blog Talk side of it, let me just shoot out some hellos. Of course, hello to the rest of the United States.
Yeah, I know.
That's our biggest. Hello to you, to United Kingdom. Hello to Switzerland. Hello to Germany. Hello to Australia.
Hi.
Hello to New Zealand. Hello to South Africa. Oh, by the way, hello Japan. Hello Chile. Hello Peru. Hello Colombia. Hello Mexico. And by the way, those are the ones that have got the most pops. I know there are also other ones that are less than that on the pops. In other words, the ones that are the reporter picking up, that you get the idea of, yeah, these are less than 1% of where it's coming from. And that is Saudi Arabia. That is Egypt. That is Italy. Greece. How the hell did you find us?
You make sure to let us know when the Martian colony starts listening.
No kidding. Yes, when we hit Mars colony, we really have done.
Well, I know that you and Brad are already petitioned to be on the first trip, so we'll just have to record from there.
Yeah, there you go.
And I'm sure everyone has their own like translation and everything. So up in Mars, all you hear is
But in all honesty, it's amazing how creators can reach out to other creatives around the world, and that's something. Jen, you were talking about your therapist was telling you there are other do it another way. Find another way to do this. We live in a time period in which creatives have new avenues, more open to them thanks to the internet. George and I, we could not do voice recordings at home if we were 10 years ago. Actually, a lot less than 10 years ago.
I have my entire office with me at this
In your
very
bag.
moment in my
Yeah.
bag.
Yeah.
Exactly. We would have had to go to a studio.
Yep.
And the clientele would have to pay that studio and pay for a sound engineer to get our 30 seconds worth of speech, which, by the way, usually can take a good half hour or more, depending on how they want you to say it and so forth, and getting that nailed down. Audiobooks, faster creation as well. And open now, not just to the main publishers. You've got it wide open to anybody. Traditional jobs. And actually I suffered from this when I graduated from high school. Not graduated from school, I graduated from college. I had a bachelor's degree in elementary ed. I had certifications, thus minors, in social studies, general science, and language arts. I should have, in theory, have been able to get a job anywhere. Especially with the general science aspect of it. I couldn't. I graduated right in the time of the Clinton recession. Life happens. And I did not end up getting a job. But my dad could not understand that. My dad expected, just as that normal, straight term, You graduate, you're out, it's time for you to get a job. What do you mean? 13 months later, you've got a job working as a doctor's receptionist.
Mm-hmm.
That's how long it took to get any job. And I jumped at the chance. And actually, I was within the same company I was already working part-time for. Going, and we talked about it a moment ago. And a lot of the people who are graduating now from college with the traditional degrees are running into the same issues with a lot of college debt on top of it. And where I'm going with this is all the industries have been changing. We have all changed. And we as a country, and I think a lot of the world as well, are moving away from one track of economy into an economy which you've got to be able to provide some type of specialty service. Writers, artists, guess what? Well, same thing you musicians out there. We are specialists. We have a specialty. We may, if you're like myself, you're specialist in multiple areas, but you've got different areas to jump into. That's where I'm going with that.
Well, I think that is an important point, that we do have to have more than one specialty.
Oh, yeah.
It's not just that we're writers. We also have to be, as you pointed out earlier, CEOs. We have to be business people. We have to be
Marketing people.
marketers, advertisers, you name it. And we may be pretty well situated to do some of those things, but not all of them.
No.
I never knew how to write a semi-legal contract until I had to do that.
Yeah.
You can't, when you're starting a business, you have to learn how to do your business taxes.
Exactly.
Do your business negotiations and talk to people on the phone, and even though you hate doing that, I'm talking to myself. You have to know how to write a proposal. You have to know how to conduct yourself in a professional manner. Sometimes you have to fake it till you make it.
Yeah. I'm going to recommend to all creatives. I mean, I talked about Bob Baker's thing, and yes, I'm going to repeat that because it does cover a lot of stuff, especially what I'm about to talk about. But if you're in college still, or if you're out of college and you are getting into the writing industry, and you're thinking about, maybe I should learn something more, go back, maybe take a writing course or whatever, let me throw something at you. You're going to hate me, but let me throw it at you. Take an entrepreneurial course. Take a course, or go down to the Small Business Administration and talk with them. Sometimes I think they've got some workshops and so forth on being entrepreneurs. It will help you. I don't care if you're published by Random Penguin or if you're published independently. You're a small business owner. We can't do it all ourselves, but we end up doing a lot. And you're making the decisions that fall into that. Jen, you talked about you couldn't do a legal contract. I still cannot draw a book cover to save my life. Hell, I can't draw a stick figure to save my life. That's where it comes into play. Huh?
I can teach you to do that.
Yeah, I know you can. I'm being a little facetious with a stick figure. I can draw a TIE fighter. But
You're better than 4th grade me.
there you go.
She tried real hard.
Oh, wow. Anyway, let's do it from side. But anyway, where I'm going with it is
Side.
side profile. But anyway, where I'm going with it is this ability to network. Being a small business owner and knowing all other creatives, if they're taking it seriously, and yes, I'm going to sidebar that in just a second. If they're taking it seriously, whether they're still in the hobby level or they are doing it for the living, or if they have a second job and they're still doing it for the living, I'm counting you, George, in that one. Biggest parts to knowing what you're doing is networking. You need to network. You need to be able to connect with the other creatives, not just fellow writers, but artists, musicians, so forth. Why musicians? Book trailers, and so forth. You need to be able to go out there, and you need to be able to talk and be able to create and be able to join together. Yes, sometimes we might pay money. I pay Jennifer for logos. There's other things she's done for me in gratis or in kind, in which I've turned around and done something for her. It happens. I was going to sidebar real fast. What was it? Go ahead. I've got to think about what I was going to say.
The main thing, just to kind of dovetail onto what you were saying, is when you're hearing the kind of negative feedback that that you get from the people that just don't get what it is that we do, don't let that discourage you. Get yourself out there, because you're going to find that there's more in you than you think. You're going to surprise yourself in a lot of different ways. The one of the best things I've ever heard was when Kevin Smith was quoting one of his friends, Malcolm Ingram. He said that the fact that you conceived and saw through Clerks all the way to the end, the fact that you went, out of your comfort zone, went to Vancouver to go to film school, came back, wrote and created and sold your film, Clerks, says, there is nothing else in your lexicon that shows that little element of you. The fact that he went ahead and took that plunge meant that he surprised himself by doing that, by exceeding his own expectations. So that's really what we're saying here. Like, yes, this is a Quebec episode where we're talking about, all the negative things that we as writers hear. But also just remember that, we are here for you. Mm-hmm. We are the security blanket for you. We are the community of writers that every writer needs. And we are here to encourage you to continue on in this because you are going to surprise yourself as much as anyone else is.
Sidebar, this was not quite where I was going with the earlier sidebar, but I just remembered something. I've talked about Bob Baker multiple times. In his empowerment course, he talks about this. I'm going to change the way he does it. I'm saying the same thing he is, though. Don't just tell people you're an author. Give a log line. What is it you write? What is it you do? I made a joke earlier. From here on out, I'm going to tell people I control people's minds. That sounds funny, but think about what you do as a writer. I control people's minds through the use of words to create emotion where it didn't exist, and story that explores humanity. There, I'm done. That's my log line. I can make you fearful, I can make you cry, I can make you feel sad, I can make you feel happy. Triumphant. Go on.
We're going to talk about defending yourself and your accomplishments. I have a side anecdote.
Go for it, please.
When I was a tiny elementary school child, I was not very athletic. That trend has persisted to this day. But, when you're in elementary school, you have to take gym class. And my elementary school was very small. We didn't have a track. When we had to run the mile, the gym teacher plotted a path around the campus that all us little children had to run. Some of it was off-road, some of it was on-road, but it was past, the playground where all of our fellow students were all playing and watching us heaving and hoeing as we run around. And I remember being a pudgy little elementary school kid coming up in the back of the mile and having some snot-nosed younger kids laughing at us, all of us people who weren't athletic stars, and someone was like, "Ha, you're so slow," and I remember yelling back, "But I didn't stop." Mm-hmm. Yeah. Don't stop. It doesn't matter if you're not as fast as the little kid who's going to be on the select soccer team. You do the best you can. You keep going. You don't stop. And if someone is going to tease you about it, then you can say, "Yeah, but I wrote a book," or "Yeah, but I'm in business for myself."
Exactly.
Or my favorite, because I still, I don't make enough money in either of my freelance gigs to afford a monthly rent at this point, so I'm still bunking at my parents' house. And people say, "Oh, you're still at your parents' house?" It's like, yeah, but I own my own car. I don't have to do car payments anymore. I saved up money that I could buy that thing right out. So, it's like I pay for my medical bills every month, and that's important. Mm-hmm. So you've got victories and you have triumphs, and you don't compare yourself to the other guy, because the other guy is always going to look more successful than you are because he's either been working at it longer or you're only seeing the rosy parts, and he's you don't know, he might be living in his parents' basement too.
Yeah, you got to make sure that you celebrate your victories, because if you don't, nobody else will. You have to, I made a big point about I made a big deal about mentioning on Facebook that this particular year, 2017, just happens to be the 25th anniversary of Excelsior's initial creation.
Wow.
When I first drew him in the summer of 1992 to add to my own little universe, and I needed someone brand new, I needed someone to really kind of make an impact, and it just worked. And I knew that there was something about him I didn't know what it was yet. I just knew that he was somebody that I had to keep working on. I had to keep developing. I had to keep picking at. And sooner or later, like something's going to hit. And sure enough, I had a publisher who has paid me money for the rights to publish Excelsior's story. That, to me, is a victory in and of itself. Just like what Stephen King said. He said that if you write something and send it into someone and they send you money for it and you take that money and pay the light bill, I consider you talented.
Yep.
Well, Rick Miles at the Writers Guild, when he talked to the St. Louis Writers Guild back in July, he said that when his wife was first writing her first book, her goal was to have one person buy it that she didn't know.
Yeah.
And that was what she considered successful. And she succeeded at that and then moved past it and has become very well published on Amazon and in ebook.
Yep.
So it's as an independent publisher, which is important to note. But also she's been published traditionally as well since then because of the success and her continued push forward.
And that's always a great thing. It's just like when agents, when agents and publishers that are looking for sure things to put out there in the world, they all of a sudden start looking your way. Talk about an accomplishment right there. That's what we all want. Just keep plugging away, just like what Jen said. Keep plugging away. Do not quit. As soon as you quit, then all those naysayers that we've been kvetching about earlier, they go on with their lives, and you're stuck with this regret. Make sure you leave this world with no regrets.
Yeah. This industry is changing. A while back, we had Angie Fox, New York Times best-selling author, on this program. We originally were going to talk about paranormal romance, and we ended up talking about hybrid authors, being traditionally published and independently published, and the hybrid is someone who's both. And I've got news for you. This is, having talked to her and other people in the industry, the agents are changing. Not all of them, but some of them are changing, where they are going away from doing the simple send me your chapters to looking for authors who have been independently published, who are doing well, and going, okay, let's see what I can represent for you in the traditional industry. 2 years from now, it may change again. It's going to change. This is an ever-changing industry we are in. Modern day technology has changed it. For the better or for the worse, it has changed it. But ultimately, what we do hasn't changed. And that is creating the magic that is the story that people will read. Nonfiction, fiction. You are a magician. You are an artist. You are a creator. Continue to follow your path. And with that, have a great day writing. Tune in next week for yet another interesting topic in the writing industry. Thank you for listening.
Did you know that Right Pack Radio has an international audience? How would you like to reach that audience in regards to your books, your book services, your author services, or more? Go to www.windingtrailsmedia.com and look under advertising for more information. If you don't have a script, that's not a problem. We will be happy to work with you. Once again, go to www.windingtrailsmedia.com for more information.
The new theme songs for Right Pack Radio were written and performed by Meredith Tate. All copyrights remain with her. Writers, agents, and publishers, for the first time since the Gutenberg Press, find themselves lost in a maze of mystery as technology alters the shape of the publishing industry. Searching for Answers is a group of writers throwing pop culture, writing, and publishing into a crucible of clarity, passion, and humor. This group is the Right Pack.
Welcome back to Right Pack Radio. This is your host, producer, David Allen Lucas, author of Crazy Things, president of Winding Trails Media, president of St. Louis Writers Guild, and voice actor. And with me today is my Madame of Murder herself,
Fedora Amos, I write Victorian whodunits like Jack the Ripper in St.